Unplug, the podcast, where we dissect the latest trends shaping procurement. I'm Arcarius, your host, and I have a very special guest today here. Please welcome Sarah. She has over 10 years of expertise in procurement technology with a deep understanding of S2P processes. So today we will tackle a bold statement. Request management in procurement is dead. Is it true?
It's a question that's generating a lot of buzz lately, and for good reason. The way we buy things at work is changing rapidly, and traditional request management, well, it's starting to show its age.
Yeah, anyone who's ever had to navigate those clunky forms and endless email chains to get something purchased for work knows exactly what we're talking about.
Right. It's like a time warp back to the pre-digital era, and the inefficiencies are killing businesses.
Not to mention the compliance headaches. It's like trying to herd cats, trying to track spending and enforce preferred vendor rules when everything's so decentralized.
Absolutely. The lack of visibility is a major pain point, and it can lead to all sorts of problems, rogue spending, missed savings opportunities, you name it.
So we've established that the old way of doing things is riddled with problems.
Yeah.
But how does this intake management thing you mentioned actually address these issues?
Intake management is a completely different approach. It's not just about digitizing those old forms. It's about leveraging technology AI automation to streamline and automate the entire purchasing lifecycle.
So it's like intelligent procurement.
Exactly. Think of it this way. Instead of having to manually track down approvals, chase down information, and wrangle with suppliers, the system does a lot of the heavy lifting for you.
Okay, paint me a picture. Let's say I need to order new laptops for my team.
Huh.
What would that process look like with intake management?
Imagine this. You log into a system, and it guides you through each step, asking you the right questions to make sure you capture all the necessary information up front. Things like the type of laptops you need, the number of users, any special software requirements, budget constraints. You get the idea.
Sounds pretty straightforward so far. What happens next?
Here's where the magic happens. The system automatically checks your request against company policies, budgets, and preferred vendor lists. If everything's in order, it routes the request for approval. And if a sourcing event is needed, like getting quotes from multiple vendors, the system can even trigger that automatically.
Hold on, a sourcing event? That sounds kind of intense. What exactly does that involve?
It's basically a way to ensure you're getting the best possible price from suppliers. It could be as simple as requesting quotes from a few preferred vendors or a more formal bidding process. The key is that intake management platforms can automate a lot of this, saving procurement teams a ton of time and effort.
So instead of me sending out a bunch of emails and trying to wrangle quotes from different vendors, the system does all that for me.
Exactly. It streamlines the communication, consolidates the bids, and even helps you analyze the offers to make the best decision. It's like having a virtual procurement assistant working behind the scenes.
Okay, I'm starting to see the appeal here. But let's talk about the bottom line. What are the tangible benefits for companies that make the switch to intake management?
The benefits are significant. First off, efficiency gains are huge. By automating tasks and eliminating manual processes, companies can drastically reduce the time and resources spent on procurement. Some companies have reported saving weeks or even months in processing time alone.
Wow, that's impressive. What about those compliance issues we talked about earlier? Does intake management help there too?
Absolutely. One of the key benefits of intake management is that it bakes compliance right into the system. Procurement rules and preferred vendor lists are automatically enforced, so you can drastically reduce the risk of maverick spending and policy violations. And when audit time rolls around, you'll have a clear audit trail to demonstrate compliance.
So it's like a safety net that keeps everyone on the straight and narrow. What about the impact on employees? Does intake management make their lives easier too?
Definitely. When the purchasing process is easy and intuitive, it creates a much better user experience for everyone. Employees can get what they need faster with less frustration, and they can focus on their core work instead of getting bogged down in paperwork.
Sounds like a win-win for everyone. Companies save time and money, they stay compliant, and employees are happier. But let's get real for a second. There has to be a catch, right? What are some of the challenges companies face when implementing intake management?
Well, like any major technology implementation, there can be some bumps in the road. One common challenge is getting buy-in from stakeholders across the organization.
You mean convincing everyone to embrace the new system? That can definitely be tough. What else?
Data migration can be a hurdle. Moving all your existing procurement data into a new platform can be a complex and time-consuming process. And of course, there's always a learning curve as users get familiar with the new system and processes.
So it's not as simple as just flipping a switch and everything magically works.
Not quite. But the good news is that with careful planning, the right technology partner, and a clear communication strategy, these challenges can be overcome. And the payoff can be substantial.
Okay, I'm definitely intrigued. But what about the future? What does the road ahead look like for intake management?
That's where things get really exciting. AI is going to play an even bigger role in shaping the future of intake management. We're talking about systems that can predict demand, proactively identify potential supply chain disruptions, and even negotiate with suppliers automatically.
Whoa, hold on. Robots negotiating with suppliers? That sounds like something straight out of science fiction.
It might sound futuristic, but this technology is closer than you think, and it has the potential to completely transform the procurement landscape.
This is all fascinating stuff, but let's take a step back for a second. I know we're deep in the weeds here, but why should our listener care about all of this? What's the big takeaway?
The key takeaway is this: the way we buy things at work is changing. Intake management isn't just a buzzword, it's a fundamental shift in how procurement operates. And for companies that are willing to embrace this change, the rewards can be significant.
So it's about staying ahead of the curve and not getting left behind in the old way of doing things.
Exactly. And for procurement professionals, it's an opportunity to elevate their role within the organization. By embracing technology and focusing on strategic initiatives, they can become true business partners, driving value and innovation.
This has been incredibly insightful. But give me some concrete examples. What kinds of tasks would AI handle, and what would humans still be responsible for?
Well, imagine a scenario where AI is monitoring market trends and analyzing historical data to predict your company's future needs for certain goods or services. That's something AI can do incredibly efficiently and accurately.
So instead of me trying to figure out how much raw material we'll need next quarter, the AI can just tell me.
Yep. And based on those predictions, the AI can even start the sourcing process, automatically identifying potential suppliers, sending out requests for quotes, and even negotiating contracts based on predetermined parameters.
So it's like having a super-powered procurement assistant working 24/7. But where do humans fit into this picture? If AI is doing all of that, what's left for us to do?
That's where human expertise really shines. While AI can handle the transactional side of things, humans bring critical thinking, relationship building, and strategic vision to the table.
Okay, I'm starting to see the bigger picture here. But can you give me some specific examples? What are some of the key roles that humans will play in this AI-driven future of procurement?
One crucial role is supplier relationship management. Building strong collaborative relationships with key suppliers will be more important than ever in a world where AI is handling a lot of the day-to-day communication.
So even though AI can negotiate contracts, humans are still needed to build those relationships.
Absolutely. There's a human element to negotiation and collaboration that AI simply can't replicate. It's about building rapport, understanding nuances, and navigating complex scenarios that require empathy and emotional intelligence.
That makes sense. What other uniquely human skills will be crucial in this new world of procurement?
Data analysis and interpretation will be another key skill. AI can generate mountains of data, but it's up to humans to make sense of it all. Identify trends, extract actionable insights, and translate those insights into strategic decisions.
So it's not enough to just have the data, you need to know what it means and how to use it to drive business outcomes.
Exactly. It's about connecting the dots, seeing the bigger picture, and using data to tell a compelling story that informs decision-making.
This is all very interesting, but change can be tough.
Hmm.
What advice would you give to companies that are just starting to explore intake management?
Start small. Don't try to boil the ocean and implement every feature all at once. Focus on solving specific pain points. Identify the areas where you're experiencing the most friction and start there.
So it's an iterative approach rather than a big bang implementation.
Exactly. It's about gradually introducing the technology building buy-in along the way and demonstrating the value of intake management to stakeholders across the organization.
And finding the right technology partner is also important, right?
Absolutely.
The future procurement is exciting, but it also demands that we embrace change, continuously learn and find ways to leverage technology to enhance our human capabilities. Okay, so let's say I'm a company and I'm ready to start shopping around for an intake management platform. What are some key things I should be looking for?
Ease of use is paramount. You want a system that's intuitive and user-friendly for both your procurement team and all the employees who will be using it to make requests.
Because nobody wants to wrestle with another complicated software program.
Exactly. It should make life easier, not harder. What else? Let's see. Flexibility and scalability are also important. The platform should be able to grow with your business as your needs evolve. And of course, integration is critical.
Right, we talked about that connected ecosystem.
Exactly. You want a platform that seamlessly integrates with your existing systems like your ERP and finance applications so that data can flow smoothly between them.
Makes sense. So as we wrap up this deep dive, what's the one big takeaway you want to leave our listeners with?
The world of procurement is changing, and intake management is at the forefront of this evolution. It's a smarter, more efficient, and frankly, more enjoyable way to handle purchasing. And for companies that are willing to embrace this change, the rewards can be significant.
It's not just about keeping up with the Joneses, it's about staying ahead of the curve.
Exactly. And for procurement professionals, it's an opportunity to elevate their role within the organization, become true business partners, and drive real value for their companies.
This has been an incredible deep dive into the world intake management. Thanks so much for sharing your expertise with us today.
It's been a pleasure.
And to all our listeners out there, thanks for tuning in to Procurement Unplugged. We hope you found this episode insightful, and we'll see you next time.